Everyone already understands the reality that Bronny James is playing in the NBA largely because of the influence and legacy of his father, LeBron James. After enduring months of sharp criticism from Stephen A. Smith, Bronny eventually reached his limit. During an Instagram live broadcast, he finally decided to confront Smith directly, calling him out in front of viewers after quietly tolerating the remarks for a long time. For months leading up to that moment, Stephen A. Smith had repeatedly criticized Bronny, frequently questioning his place in the league. Eventually, Bronny responded publicly during that Instagram live session. What made the situation even more surprising was that Bronny mentioned something from Smith's past that no one expected to hear. As the story continues to unfold, more details are emerging piece by piece, explaining not only what triggered that heated moment but also revealing the deeper history that had been building between the two sides. The truth is that this conflict did not suddenly appear overnight. Instead, it developed slowly over time, and the full context only becomes clear when you trace the situation back to its origins. The roots of the controversy can be traced back several years earlier, when LeBron James openly stated that one of his career goals was to play alongside his son in the NBA. That declaration immediately placed intense pressure on Bronny long before he ever stepped onto an NBA court. From that point forward, Stephen A. Smith became one of the most outspoken figures questioning whether Bronny genuinely deserved a spot in the league. Over time, the criticism continued to grow until the entire situation eventually reached a boiling point that few people had anticipated. In the early stages, the discussion surrounding Bronny's place in the NBA began quietly. People casually debated whether the situation was fair to other aspiring players or whether it represented the advantages that come with carrying a famous last name. Gradually, however, those quiet conversations turned into loud public debates. Bronny's early statistical performance in the NBA also added fuel to the fire. Across his first 13 games, his production was extremely limited. He had recorded just one made basket out of 16 attempts and had not made a single three-pointer, leaving his overall numbers close to zero across the board. At that point, Stephen A. Smith stepped forward as the loudest voice on ESPN, saying what many observers were privately thinking but were hesitant to express publicly. Smith insisted that his comments were not meant to attack LeBron's legacy but rather reflected concern for a young player being pushed into the demanding environment of professional basketball before he was fully ready. The controversy escalated dramatically on January 29, 2025, when Bronny played 15 minutes in a game against the Philadelphia 76ers without scoring any points. The following day, Smith addressed the issue on television, delivering remarks that quickly became one of the most widely discussed moments in sports media that year. Speaking directly to LeBron as a father, he passionately said, "Stop this. Stop this. We all know that Bronny James is in the NBA because of his." Smith did not stop with that statement. He elaborated further, explaining that his criticism came from a place of concern for both the sport and the individuals involved. To illustrate his point, he compared Bronny's circumstances to the experience of the son of boxing legend Joe Frazier, who had once faced overwhelming expectations and constant comparisons. According to Smith, that kind of pressure had overshadowed the son's own achievements, and he believed a similar situation might be happening to Bronny. Predictably, the reaction online was immediate and intense. The internet quickly split into two opposing camps. Some viewers supported Smith for speaking honestly about what they believed was an uncomfortable truth, while others argued that he had crossed a serious boundary by involving family matters in his commentary. Interestingly, the most noticeable reaction came in the form of silence from LeBron and the Los Angeles Lakers organization. Neither LeBron nor the team issued a public response at that time. Despite the silence, tensions behind the scenes were reportedly escalating quickly. LeBron's frustration grew steadily, not only toward Smith but toward the entire narrative that had turned his son into a symbol of a larger debate about fairness in professional basketball. That tension eventually led to a dramatic moment on March 6, 2025, during a Lakers game against the New York Knicks. Smith happened to be sitting courtside with friends that evening. What should have been an ordinary night of basketball suddenly transformed into one of the most intense moments the sports media world had witnessed in years. During a break in the action, LeBron James approached Stephen A. Smith directly. In that moment, he was not acting as a global superstar but as a determined father addressing someone he believed had crossed a line. A fan in the crowd captured the encounter on video, and the footage quickly spread across the internet. Based on lip-reading and later reports, it appeared that LeBron firmly told Smith to stop discussing his son publicly and to leave Bronny out of the conversation altogether. The clip quickly went viral, sparking another massive debate online. Many people praised LeBron for standing up for his child, while others criticized the public nature of the confrontation. As the video circulated widely, ESPN was forced to deal with the immediate media fallout. Eventually, Smith responded by acknowledging that he understood LeBron's perspective as a father. However, he also maintained that his responsibility as a journalist required him to speak honestly about what he observed. Reflecting on the confrontation, Smith explained, "That wasn't a basketball player confronting me. That was a parent. That was a father." He added that he could not feel angry or personally offended by LeBron under those circumstances. According to Smith, he recognized and respected LeBron's role as a protective parent. At the same time, he insisted that he still had a professional duty to discuss important issues in the sport. That clash between personal emotion and professional obligation ultimately fueled the controversy even further. Ordinarily, a brief confrontation during a timeout might fade away and be forgotten. In this case, however, the situation evolved into something much bigger. After the incident, both sides remained publicly silent for a period of time. Beneath that silence, however, significant developments were unfolding. Observers began to sense that a strategic media approach was quietly taking shape, raising questions about how much of the conflict involved genuine emotion and how much involved calculated messaging. When Smith returned to ESPN's First Take the following day, he attempted to calm the situation and address it professionally. Still, traces of frustration were visible as he spoke. He explained that several people close to LeBron had ways of contacting him directly if they had wanted to resolve the matter privately. "Rich Paul, his agent and friend, has my number. Maverick Carter has my number. LeBron James knows how to get in contact with me if he wanted to. He never called. Because if he had called and wanted to talk, I would have accepted." That statement revealed what many observers later described as Smith's first major miscalculation. He treated the incident as a routine professional disagreement, while LeBron had already turned it into something deeply personal and highly public. Smith continued discussing journalistic responsibility, unaware that the narrative had already shifted. During subsequent broadcasts of First Take, Smith attempted to clarify his earlier remarks in detail. He emphasized repeatedly that his criticism had never been directed at Bronny himself, but rather at LeBron's decisions as a father guiding his son's career. "I never would speak negatively about your son. I was talking about you, meaning you, LeBron." Smith continued stressing this distinction, explaining that his concerns centered on LeBron's choices rather than Bronny's effort as a young player trying to succeed. That argument soon became the core of the ongoing debate. While Smith carefully built logical explanations, LeBron appeared to be operating several steps ahead. For weeks after their courtside encounter, LeBron chose to remain silent. He allowed the story to circulate while observing how Smith responded publicly. Meanwhile, Bronny's performance began to improve significantly, especially during appearances in the G League, where he started scoring more than 20 points per game. That improvement gave LeBron a powerful narrative advantage. Then, on March 20, 2025, Bronny delivered his strongest NBA performance yet, scoring 17 points and adding 5 assists in a game against the Milwaukee Bucks. The performance was strong enough that Stephen A. Smith publicly reconsidered his earlier criticism. "I might have been wrong. Are you listening, LeBron James? Are you listening, James family? Are you listening, Rich Paul?" Smith explained that he had always believed Bronny should spend his first year developing in the G League before transitioning fully to the NBA. After witnessing Bronny's recent performance, he acknowledged that the young player might indeed have the potential to succeed at the highest level. Smith even praised Bronny's confidence and suggested that alternating between NBA and G League minutes could be beneficial for his development. However, rather than viewing Smith's comments as an opportunity to move past the conflict, LeBron appeared to interpret them as confirmation that the earlier criticism had been unfair. Believing he had gained the upper hand, LeBron soon made another major media appearance. On March 26, 2025, he appeared on The Pat McAfee Show. During that interview, LeBron presented himself calmly and deliberately, almost as if he had carefully planned every statement ahead of time. Instead of responding emotionally, he reframed the entire situation and suggested that Smith's behavior was driven more by attention-seeking than by genuine analysis. LeBron mocked Smith's earlier comments, saying, he literally started off with, "I didn't want to address it." Yeah, sure. If there's one person who couldn't wait for that video to drop so you could address it, it's you. The strategy went beyond simple defense, it resembled psychological warfare. LeBron openly questioned Smith's motives and implied that the controversy had been exaggerated for publicity. One particularly sharp remark compared Smith's constant media appearances to a Taylor Swift tour run, suggesting that he was treating the situation like a personal publicity campaign. Smith's reaction showed how strongly those remarks affected him. In response, he released a 52-minute video on YouTube defending his position. During the video, he even stated that if LeBron had physically touched him during their courtside confrontation, he would have defended himself. At that moment, the argument moved far beyond journalism and into the realm of personal pride. Smith later continued the discussion during an appearance on the Gills Arena, where he criticized LeBron even more strongly. He accused LeBron of manipulating the narrative and staging the confrontation for attention rather than attempting to resolve the issue privately. The ongoing exchange revealed just how complex and emotionally charged the situation had become. Smith acknowledged that LeBron had every right to protect his son as a father, but he remained critical of the way LeBron handled the conflict in public. The tension escalated again when LeBron chose to appear on a competing sports show shortly after First Take aired. Smith interpreted that decision as a deliberate attempt to weaken the influence of his program. By that stage, it was clear that LeBron was thinking strategically and playing a long-term media game, using every available platform to shape the narrative and guide the public conversation in the direction he wanted. And if you want to watch more videos like this, simply click on one of the cards appearing on your screen right now.